Hello and welcome back to my channel. Now, if you're new, this channel focuses on the ins and outs of living abroad in the beautiful country of Poland. Now, today's video, I want to be talking about 6 things I cannot live without. Let's get started. For this video, I'm going to be talking about 6 things that I have become accustomed to while living here in Poland that I could not imagine living without if I ever moved back to the States or a different country. So let's get started with those 6 items. So the number one item on the list is that here in Poland, people do not wear their shoes in their houses. So if you go to someone's house, you generally take your shoes off in it's kind of like a cloak area. Most apartments have a cloak area or like a jacket area in their homes at the front door. So you'll take off your shoes, and typically in some Polish homes, they'll have slippers, so you'll put on slippers. It's very similar in that aspect to a lot of Asian cultures. I know that for sure in Japan, China, and Korea, you don't wear your shoes in the house. And I think it is super smart. Here in Europe, specifically because you're doing a lot of walking in the cities, the ground can be quite dirty. So if you were to wear your shoes into the house, you would track all that mud and dirt into the house. So not wearing shoes is something that I'm going to implement no matter where in the world I might find myself. Now, the number 2 thing on this item kind of goes with no shoes in the house. Now, I can tell you that I absolutely hate carpet. I think it's one of the things that I hate the most. Now, I'm not sure if it is something that's a trend in the USA as a whole, but when I was living in Los Angeles and even when I was living in the Midwest, homes, for whatever reasons, particularly apartments, have carpet in them. And even though in Los Angeles, it's not a place where it snows a lot or rains a lot, and so the ground is not wet often, but having carpet in an apartment, I feel is gross, especially having carpet in the living room, or even in the bathroom. I've been to places in LA that have carpet in the bathroom, which is a no-no. Now here in Europe, I have never, and I can say this again, I have never experienced carpet anywhere in any home that I've been to here in Europe. Now, sometimes people have rugs, but as far as carpet goes, I think it's something that just culturally is not used. And I think it's just really not hygienic to have carpets, specifically in a living space where people are moving around and there's a lot of traffic. The number 3 item on my list is that in most kitchens, if you don't have a dishwasher, I'm not part of the dishwasher club or the dishwasher life yet, but I assure you for our next apartment, I will definitely be about that dishwasher life. But for now, I don't have a dishwasher, but that is okay. Because here in Europe, in your kitchen, most European kitchens that I've been to here in Poland and here in Spain have a drying rack that is inside the cabinetry. So typically over the sink, there is a drying rack. You can open up this kind of cabinet and there are some shelves with a rack, and you just put your dishes in there and you let them dry. Now, some of my friends actually leave the dishes in there permanently. That's their permanent home until they're used. I actually, let the dishes dry in the drying rack and then I put them away. But it's super convenient and it's a space saver. When I lived in the States, if I wanted to dry something, I would have to put it, either I would have to dry it or I would have to get this drying rack that you put on the counter, and it takes up loads of counter space. So drying rack in the cabinetry, something that I can absolutely not live without. Number 4 on the list, I don't understand why this is not implemented worldwide, especially in richer countries. So here in Poland and specifically over in Spain, people have a washer in their apartment. So if you're renting an apartment, you have a washer in your apartment. In Spain, typically the washer is located in the kitchen. And here in Poland, in most homes that I've been to, the washer is located in the bathroom. So it makes life super easy and it makes things super convenient. When I lived in Los Angeles, I lived in an apartment complex or a flat, and the flat had its own washer and dryer, but it was in like a laundry room. So I would have to take my clothes and load them down the stairs and then put them in the machine. When I paid, it wasn't expensive, but it was just an inconvenience. And a lot of times I would have to time it correctly because that one washing machine was shared by everyone in the complex. And so therefore, like some days, especially on Saturdays and Sundays, like everyone would be washing, so I'd have to like wait. Here in Europe, everyone has a washer in their units. One thing that might be a downside if you're from the States or if you're from specific parts of Australia, here in Europe, people don't traditionally have a drying machine, but I'll get into that in a different video. Now, number 5, I was totally on the fence when I first moved to Poland. In fact, I have to be 100% honest, I was absolutely terrified about this aspect in Europe. And recently my partner and I went on a trip to Spain just this past summer, and I was re-traumatized. And this traumatizing aspect, roundabouts. Now, roundabouts are not, there are not a lot of roundabouts specifically in Los Angeles. Now that I think about it, I've never experienced a roundabout in Los Angeles, and I've never experienced any roundabouts during my time in the USA. So you could imagine when I was first started driving here in Poland, I had to get accustomed to the roundabouts and I had to learn how to operate the roundabouts. Now, once I was able to do that, I absolutely love them, and it just really makes traffic like flow easily, especially if it's a street where at night there's not a high frequency of traffic, and so it's easy for you to just cut in and go ahead and continue versus having like a traffic light where you have to like wait for minutes, and especially in towns where there's a lot of traffic lights, like you'd have to wait. So like in Poland, there could be like 6 roundabouts, but if it's late at night, you could just like zoom straight through them. Now, in Spain, I don't know what it is about the Spanish roundabouts. Let's just say that I'm a little traumatized from the roundabouts in Spain, specifically those roundabouts in Barcelona and around Barcelona. So maybe I need to learn a little bit more about the laws associated with roundabouts in Spain. And last but not least, absolutely not least, is the fact that here in Europe, you can live in a rural area or you can live in an area that's not like heavily populated, and there are all these different local shops that you typically can walk to. And now this is not a phenomenon in the States, and it wasn't a phenomenon even when I lived in Australia. Typically, if you lived in a suburb, you would have to have a 10-minute walk to get to like a liquor store or some type of convenience store or a local gas station. And here in Poland, almost every neighborhood I've been to, and I've been to some kind of remote little communities here in Poland, and there's always a convenience shop. Typically the most popular convenience shop is Żabka, but there are always other little maybe smaller convenience shops, that mom and pop shops, or like a fruit stand, or even a gas station where you could walk to. And that makes life super easy when you just need to pick up one little item and you don't have to like get in your car or like go on this long field trip to get something. Now, there are other things that I definitely have become accustomed to here in Europe, and there are some things that I feel kind of operate a little bit better than they did in the States, and vice versa. Now, these 6 things are just some of the 6 things that I've noticed in my kind of everyday life that are convenient for me and a convenience in general. If you have any suggestions of any things that are convenient for you here in Europe or other parts of the world, please leave your comments below. And as usual, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And I can't wait to see you next week.